In this video, we will discuss about centripetal force. Centripetal force is a force which compels a body to move in a circular path. In a simple word, a body which is moving in a circular path has a centripetal force. Consider this is a body of mass m. When a force vector F is applied on a body of mass m, this body starts to move with a velocity v. Now, if the direction of a vector force and the direction of a vector velocity is same, then the body will have maximum speed. Now, if the body of mass m has a velocity v, and if the direction of a force is opposite to the speed or to the velocity of the body, then the speed will be minimum, or the body will slow down. Now the student, consider that the body of mass m has a velocity vector v. If the force applied is perpendicular to the direction of the velocity, or the angle between force and velocity vector is 90, then this force will compel a body to move in a circular path, and it will cause a centripetal force, F centripetal. The direction of the centripetal force applied on a body will be F centripetal, will be toward the center of a circular path. Body will move in a circular path like this, and the direction of a centripetal force will be toward the center of a circle. F centripetal. Student, please keep in mind that a centripetal force is a cause. It is not in itself, it is a force, but it is a cause which is produced by other kind of forces. Centripetal, if we see the word centripetal has a combination of centri and petal. Centri means the direction of a force is toward centered, or it follows a circular path. So centripetal force is a force which compels a body to move along a circular path. The direction of If the direction of applied force is perpendicular to the velocity vector, then this applied force will compel a body to move in a circular path. The body which moves in a circular path has a force known as a centripetal force, and it is directed toward the center of the circle. Centripetal force in itself is not a force, but it is a cause produced by other kind of forces. So now consider example of centripetal force. So now considered a boy. Considered this is considered a boy, and it has a rope and a ball is connected. Ball of mass m is connected with a rope, and when the man move this ball, a ball move in a circular path like this. So the force which a man apply on this ball is a tension force. So this tension force is basically generating, or basically it is causing the centripetal force, and due to which the ball will move in a centripetal, in a circular centripetal, and due to this the ball will move in a circular path. So basically tension force in this case is causing the centripetal force, and due to the tension force the ball is moving along a circular path. So we can conclude here is that centripetal force is not produced at its own, but there are other types of forces which basically produce centripetal force in a body, and due to these forces the body moves in a circular path. Now, dear student, consider example that a car is moving on a circular path of a road. Okay, suppose this is a car, and and it is moving in a circular path with a velocity v on a road. Since the car is moving along the central, so the centripetal force on a car will be toward the central of circular path, and velocity is perpendicular to the force vector. In this situation, the force which is causing the motion of a car to move in a circular path is known as static force, F static, and this F static force is equal to centripetal force. Now, static force, the formula for a static force is mu s into a normal force, whereas the formula of centripetal force is mass into velocity square divided by r, the radius of circle, or radius of circular path. So now mu s is known as coefficient of a friction, whereas Fn is a normal force. The normal force is usually Fn is usually equal to mass time gravitational force. So then the equation number 1 will become mu as static force into mass time gravitational force is equal to m velocity square divided by radius, or its radius of a circular path. So the mass will cancel with mass, and we will get mu as coefficient of friction G is equal to velocity square divided by R. So from this equation we can calculate the static force of friction. Okay, we can calculate this. We can calculate the velocity of with which a car is traveling, and secondly we can also calculate the radius of a path or a circular path which car is following. So the student, from here it is quite clear that centripetal force is just a cause. It is just caused by other kind of forces. In case the car is moving in a circular path on a road, the static force is basically responsible for generating a centripetal force on a car. So dear student, in case of a sun, suppose this is a schematic representation of a sun. Earth usually revolve around the sun in a circular path. Suppose this is a planet Earth. So it's revolve around the circular path around the Earth. So the force which is basically causing the Earth to revolve in a circular path around the sun is gravitational force. So gravitational force Fg, gravity, is basically causing a centripetal force, and due to this the earth will move or will revolve around, or it will orbit around the sun. If there is a decrease or there is a change in a gravitational force, then the earth will just fly away from the circular path or from the orbiting path around the sun. So both the gravitational force and centripetal force are balanced, and due to this the earth is revolving around a circular path. As you know that the gravitational force Fg is time mass time gravity, whereas the centripetal force Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. So if we combine, since you know that the if we combine both gravitational force with the centripetal force, then we will get mass time gravity is equal to mv square divided by r. Mass will mass will cancel with mass, then gravity is equal to v square divided by r, and from here we can get a uh, radius of an earth around moving around the sun. By just doing this, that radius is equal to the velocity of the earth around the sun divided by the gravity g. So in case of an earth moving around the sun, the gravitational force is basically causing the earth to move in a circular path around the earth. The variation, the change in a gravity or decrease in a gravitational force basically will cause an earth to move or to fly away from the center or from the circular path around the sun. So The force which basically compel the body to move away from the circular path is known as a centrifugal force. So we will discuss centrifugal force in another lecture. So here we are just discussing the centripetal force. Now let's go toward the formula of the centripetal force. Dear student, centripetal force Fc is directly proportional to the mass of a body which is moving in a circular path. Similarly, F centripetal force Fc is directly proportional to the velocity v square or velocity square of an object which is moving in a circular path. Centripetal force Fc is inversely proportional to the radius of an object which is moving in a circular path. This means that if the mass of an object is more, there will be a more, or there will be the magnitude of the centripetal force will be more. Similarly, the higher is the value of the velocity, higher will be the centripetal force. In case if an object has a smaller radius, then the centripetal force of that object will be high. If we combine all of these three, centripetal force will become Fc is centripetal is equal to mv square divided by r. This means that if the higher is the radius of an object, lesser will be a centripetal force. Lesser, higher is the mass on of object which is moving in a circular path, higher will be the value of the centripetal force. Higher is the amount of a velocity of an object, the higher will be the rate, or higher will be the centripetal force. So if I conclude centripetal force is a cause, or it is a force which compel a body to move in a circular path. The centripetal force is basically caused by other kind of forces, like if earth is moving around the sun, there is a gravitational force which is basically causing a centripetal force. Similarly, in case of a car moving in a circular path on a road, the static force is basically responsible for a car to move in a circular path. The formula for centripetal force is Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. So centripetal force is basically directly proportional to the mass of a body which is moving in a circular path, and it is directly proportional to the velocity square, whereas centripetal force is inversely proportional to the radius of a body or radius of a circle in which a body is moving. Shorter is the radius, the higher will be the value of a centripetal force. Similarly, a body has a greater mass, higher will be the value of the centripetal force. And body with higher velocity will also have a greater amount of centripetal force. So this is all about the centripetal force.